Malaysia is a beautiful country of over 850 islands. Its people, food and landscape are incredibly diverse, and it's one of the countries that surprised us the most.
We expected to enjoy our time here, but wow, we will get into why it surprised us so much and what we love about it throughout this video.
Here's 19 things we wish we knew before visiting Malaysia. Let's get right into it with when is the best time to visit Malaysia?
Yes.
And that's quite a difficult question to answer.
It is.
Other countries like Indonesia and Philippines, they sound bigger because they've got thousands and thousands of islands.
True.
Malaysia is less than 1,000, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't take up a really large space.
True.
So East and West have different times that you can visit, and trying to line up the best time to visit them all is pretty much impossible.
It's quite hard. We visited in April, May, and sort of August, September, so 3 different times of the year, and we've hit a different mix of places with that.
The best thing that you can probably do is figure out what you want to see the most, and obviously we're going to go through a few things throughout this video, work out where the majority of that stuff is, then focus on visiting that area for its best time to visit, and the rest, if you're going to do it on that trip, you might just have to take a bit of a gamble.
Yeah. One thing that we have found when we have been in Malaysia a couple of times is generally around 3 p.m. it rains for maybe an hour or two, and then it's clear again. That's pretty much the general consensus that we've experienced anyway.
So at least it's predictable and you can plan that around your day.
Yeah.
But we'll run through when the best time is for those points now.
East Coast, the dry season is March to October, and West Coast, the dry season is December until February.
So we really are covering pretty much the whole of the year throughout.
Yeah. Do you need a visa to visit Malaysia? Well, most countries get a visa on arrival for free between 30 and 90 days.
One top tip here is to fill out your MDAC, which is Malaysia Digital Arrival Card. And you can do this up to 3 days before you visit.
Yeah.
If you do it before, you can then skip all the queues, go straight through, because a lot of people do it when they arrive.
Yeah. We'll add a link below so you can check it out. One thing that we always mention, and that is so important, is travel insurance. Do you need travel insurance? Of course you do.
If you're doing any trip, you really do need to think about, protecting yourself, being safe, and being covered if, and hopefully nothing does, but if something does go wrong.
Yeah. We really recommend Safety Wing. They have an amazing subscription service or trip-by-trip basis as well. Check them out. We'll add a link below.
Now, SIM cards or eSIMs, we often go for eSIMs now just because when you land, you don't have to run around the airport, pay a bit more to get your SIM card sorted at the airport, or have to work out how to get into the city so you can get to a mall or somewhere where it's cheaper. All of that running around trying to sort it. Instead, we use apps like Airalo, and you can book a package specific to Malaysia for this instance. You can do one that's whole for Southeast Asia. You can make it work for your trip.
Yeah, for sure.
If you are going to get a local SIM card, then Maxis or Cellcom are the 2 best ones in the area. You might want to just have a look on where they're better for their service depending on where you're going to visit.
Yeah, for sure.
And another thing that we always find really useful, especially when you first land, is to have an idea of the currency and how that converts to your local currency. So we're from England, we use pounds, and we like to know what £1 is in Malaysian ringgit, so that when we land and we're buying things, if people are trying to increase the prices because we're new tourists, we can have an idea in mind that sounds really expensive.
Yeah.
So £1 is equivalent to 5.5 ringgit.
Yeah.
If you're trying to do this in your head and someone says it's 20, for example, just use 5 for £1. Just make it easier for your mental maths. And $1 is 4 ringgit, so it's pretty close.
Yeah. So cash or card in Malaysia. In places like Kuala Lumpur and Penang, you can use card quite easily for pretty much everything. You can also get ATMs there and get cash out if you do want to. On places like Malaysian Borneo and Perhentian Islands, it's a bit more rural and probably a little bit more difficult to get cash out, especially Perhentian. So definitely get cash before you go. While we're on the subject of finances and cash, one other thing that would be really useful to know about, that we wish we knew about, was tourist tax.
We typically use booking.com, for example, and normally this is built into the price of the hotel. So the price you're looking at is what you end up paying. But if you're little bit last minute, or you prefer to arrive somewhere and just wing it and find somewhere to stay, there'll be a 10 Malaysian ringgit fee added onto your booking.
Yeah.
That's an extra thing just to add in, just so, you know, if you're working out your budgets.
Yeah. Is it safe to travel Malaysia? As a couple, we have found it to be such a safe country. The people are so friendly and welcoming, especially in Penang.
100%. Super friendly. Never had any problems, never felt unsafe.
Yeah.
The one thing that you should be slightly conscious of is mosquitoes. They do have things like dengue fever, so make sure to use repellent. And we always found, instead of taking the expensive stuff that you maybe buy from at home, buy the local stuff that they use. It's way cheaper, it works, and that's what we've often found to be the best.
A really interesting thing about Malaysia is how multicultural it is. There's such a mix of different cultures and ethnicities, from Indians, Chinese, Malay, all different languages, all different religions, and everyone is so welcoming and kind.
It's a really great example for how a country can really thrive by inviting these different people in and really working together. It's amazing to see when you're walking around.
Yeah. The main languages spoken here are Malay, and a lot of pretty much everyone, to be honest, speaks very, very good English. There's also Mandarin and Tamil.
And not only do you get this incredible diversity in the people there, their landscape is amazingly diverse. And this, again, surprised us. We expected to enjoy Malaysia. We left having fallen head over heels in love with this country.
I think a common mistake that a lot of people do is think of Malaysia as just Kuala Lumpur. And don't get us wrong, it's a beautiful city. But once you get out of the city, I think you realise how diverse and incredible this country really is.
You've got other places that are quite close to the mainland, like Penang, which is widely regarded for its food.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
This is really good. But some places like the Perhentian Islands, we flew there from Kuala Lumpur. It cost £8 to fly. You got to get taxis and boats and things like that. Forget about that. It was paradise.
Insane. Honestly, it blew us away in all the right ways. We keep thinking about it even now, thinking, oh, should we just go back to the Perhentian Islands? Like, just wow. It is such a paradise. Both Perhentian Kecil and Perhentian Besar are incredible. It's the snorkel trips, the things that you can do there, the swimming, the beaches, the people. Wow.
Yeah. Glamping on the beach next to the ocean.
A highlight. This is where we're living for the next few days, and this is our daily view.
Oh, there's hammocks. I only just saw the hammocks.
Hammocks. Oh my god. Wow. I'm so excited.
Let's see inside.
Okay, we've got a white feet. This is so cool. How beautiful is this?
Oh, it's a little bit warm.
It's
but
warm,
we've got a fan.
But we've got a fan. It's all good.
And I don't think we'll be spending much time in the day in here.
Wow.
Oh.
This is so cool.
So we're going to be doing some glamping while we're on Perhentian Besar. We've got 2 nights here, and yeah, this is the digs.
Beautiful. We are staying at Juwita Glamping, and we've actually never camped or glamped before.
No, we're not.
We've done camper vans.
We're camper vanners. We're not tenters, but the glamping I can get on board with. When you've got these views, look at that. That's
just the fact that
this is from the bed. We'll give you the bed view. Boom. It's one of the best getaways and best quiet little islands that we visited. It really did blow us away.
Absolutely.
There's not really many other places in the world that I can think of where you could spend one day in a major city like Kuala Lumpur, next day in the Perhentian Islands in paradise, and the day after that on a riverboat cruise in Borneo in Kinabatangan, finding wild elephants and orangutans. Literally, that's the kind of diversity and landscape that you have here. It's amazing.
Yeah. I think diversity really is the key word here for Malaysia, because the landscapes, the people, the food, the cultures, everything about it is chef's kiss. Incredible.
How would you get around more locally in Malaysia?
So in the city like Kuala Lumpur, it's super easy. You can get the metro, underground, or you can get Grab taxis. Grab app is probably the most universal place across most of Southeast Asia to use that. You can also get a train from Kuala Lumpur to Penang, so you don't actually have to get the flight if you don't want to.
As you get further afield, so in Borneo, for example, a common way to get around is minibuses or coaches. And we went from Sepalok to Kinabatangan to Semporna.
Yeah.
And our place that we stayed at in Kinabatangan actually helped us with our bus in and out from there. So that's a pretty handy little tip for if you are doing that sort of similar route. We would usually recommend, in some places, hiring a scooter and kind of driving around and exploring some of these places a bit more freely. But so far, the places that we've covered, we wouldn't really recommend that.
Yeah, we haven't rented a scooter in Malaysia, apart from Langkawi, actually.
So yeah, that was the outlier. If you are going to Langkawi, it's quite a big island, and you can rent a scooter there. You can drive around most of it in a day.
Pretty much, yeah.
And explore some of the beaches and things that they have there.
Yeah.
Only drive a scooter if you're comfortable with it. You can definitely get a driver here quite easily. Your hotel would help you with that. Our hotel helped us with our scooter rental as well. And always, always, always wear a helmet.
Always.
But what about how to get between these places? So how do you get to Borneo, for example? How do you get to Langkawi, Perhentian?
There are a couple of different options, and being the planner of our duo, I sorted out a lot of the in-between islands travel plans. So from Kuala Lumpur to Perhentian Islands, for example, we flew to the nearest airport there. We flew to Penang, but you can actually get a train to Penang from Kuala Lumpur. That's quite easy. We also flew from Penang to Langkawi. You can get a bus and then a boat, but for some reason, I think since COVID, they've changed it. They don't do a ferry anymore. It's very complicated, and I think it takes a lot longer than just a 45-minute flight.
And internal flights, as we said, that one to Perhentian was £8.
Yeah.
The rest of internal flights are very realistic and affordable within Malaysia.
Yeah, and if you are going to Malaysian Borneo, you can fly from Kuala Lumpur very easily to either Kota Kinabalu or Sepalok or Semporna, up to you where you want to start. And since we're on the topic of Borneo, what is it like to visit Malaysian Borneo?
Borneo is a crazy place because it's not only the third largest island in the world, but it's 3 countries on one island. So you've got an Indonesian side to Borneo, the Malaysian side, which we have visited, and then a tiny little bit in the top, which is Brunei.
Yeah. During our time here, we only visited Sabah, but we would love to go back and do more of Borneo. In this time, we visited Sepalok, Kinabatangan and Semporna, and to be honest, Kinabatangan was a really, really true highlight for us.
It was incredible. We did several boat cruises. There was a nighttime one, a morning one. We saw wild elephants.
Which, by the way, are very rare to find because it's not a guaranteed thing to see wild elephants.
For maybe like 1, 2, 3 months of the year.
So we're very, very lucky.
They're always on the move. We saw orangutans. We saw the whole of the famous Big Five.
The Big Five.
It was amazing. We booked our trip with Sikh Sophie.
Yes.
The accommodation that we had, the place that we stayed was amazing. The guide was awesome.
Incredible.
Yeah. This is so nice.
This is so nice. Oh my gosh.
That's so good. I expected it to be way more basic.
Wow. It's actually so comfortable.
We really recommend that trip, and you can see that video here.
On top of that, we really enjoyed Semporna. We did not expect to go from jungle safari to island hopping in literally a day. It was incredible. We did some island hopping on the first day, and the second day we did scuba diving around Mabel Island, and that was just honestly
so beautiful.
So beautiful.
We saw an octopus, the biggest turtle I've ever seen in my life.
Incredible.
It was really cool.
A really big thing that Semporna is known for is actually Sipadan, and the diving here is world renowned. It is harder and more expensive to go diving here than it is places like Mabel that we went to. The diving here, I think, generally costs a lot more, and you can learn to dive here as well, but you do have to book in advance. You have to be definitely PADI certified. I don't know if you have to be advanced to scuba dive in Sipadan, but just maybe check that out before you go.
Yeah, they only give out so many licenses per week, per month, per year.
Yeah.
And the licenses are more likely to go to people who are going to be staying there for longer and spending more money. So it's unlikely that you're going to get to go there for 1 day, dive, and then leave. You probably need to do 2, 3, or 4 days.
Yeah, but the marine life and the coral and everything here
stunning.
is incredible.
So that covers Borneo, but throughout the rest of Malaysia, there's still some incredible things that you're definitely going to want to include in your trip. So we'll start with Kuala Lumpur, for example.
Yes.
There's Petronas Towers. You can walk around and have some of the street food. And there's Batu Caves as well, which you've probably seen that online. Those colourful steps that you can walk up, and there's a temple at the top. That's really cool to visit.
Definitely worth it. I would say more worth it to go first thing in the morning when there's a few less people, and don't look at the monkeys in the eye.
Yeah, just be careful of the monkeys.
Try and avoid the monkeys. For us, Penang was such a highlight, especially Georgetown, just because the food scene here is unbelievable.
World class.
All the locals, all the drivers that we met were like, oh, you need to go here, eat there, try this, go there. So safe to say we put on a lot of weight in Penang because the food is so good.
But you can at least walk around and see the amazing street art as well. It's a very aesthetic city.
It really is.
It's really beautiful. And you've got places like Langkawi as well, which is a bit more expensive than the rest of Malaysia and a bit more built up, but you've got some beautiful beaches there. And great food, and it's a really cool island to explore.
I think Langkawi is also known as like the honeymoon island as well.
That makes sense.
More of a honeymooner sort of island. There's really cool water sports and activities, national park, waterfalls. We did a bit of a road trip around Langkawi, and that was a perfect way to see it.
And then we've already mentioned them, the Perhentian Islands, those beautiful islands. Yes. For us, that's probably the highlight of Malaysia.
I agree.
We loved those islands so much. Yeah. And if you've been following our channel for a while, you'll know that that's the kind of thing that we really enjoy.
Island life is for us.
Yeah.
What is the food like in Malaysia?
It'll come as no surprise as incredible, but it was a surprise to us when we first landed.
Yeah, I don't think we expected it to be this good.
No, we really didn't. And it is amazing. So you can go to, Penang is the food capital of Malaysia, but even in Kuala Lumpur, you can eat at a Michelin star restaurant for the equivalent of peanuts.
Yeah. You get incredible Indian food, you get amazing Chinese food, you get unbelievable Malay curries and different food. Like,
across the board, it is outstanding. We walked around Georgetown and tried to eat as much food as we possibly could. So if you want to pick out a few dishes that you don't want to miss when you visit, check this out here.
Yeah. Good for anyone in the UK. Malaysia has UK plugs.
And if you've been travelling for a while, that's such a big deal.
Yeah, we've been travelling for maybe 2 years before we went to Malaysia. And when we got there, we were like, oh my gosh.
Don't have to use the adapters. It's really good.
It's a very menial point, but it's good to know.
It meant a lot to us.
We've given you quite a few tips so far, but maybe you're thinking, okay, so where do I go? How long do I spend there? What kind of itinerary do I even look at?
We put together a full itinerary of our time in Malaysia, which you can see here.
This will cover all the most amazing things about Malaysia, the food, the people, the activities, the islands, everything that you can do here that we will wholeheartedly recommend.
And now you know where you want to go and what you want to do, what sort of budget do you want to start preparing for when you arrive?
Broadly speaking, I would probably go for around £30 a day, but you can go up to 50 depending on how you want to travel. If you're a budget traveller, if you love a bit more luxury, you can get really good quality accommodation here. Like in Kuala Lumpur, for example, we stayed in this beautiful apartment and we'd been travelling for quite a long time at this point. It had a bedroom separate to the living room.
We'd been living in a van for a year, so that was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And food is relatively cheap here as well.
Yeah.
So it really does boil down to the kind of activities that you want to do. As far as Malaysia goes as a whole, Langkawi is the most expensive island.
I would say so, yeah.
So food, especially your accommodation.
I would say also especially activities.
Yeah, that's going to take up most of your budget.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind, and that'll help dictate how long you're going to spend in that island specifically.
Yeah. If you're doing things like the river cruise in Borneo, you have to factor that in. We mentioned before that we found a really, really great deal through Seek Sophie, and that included the accommodation, minibus transport. You could also opt for transport back to your starting location as well. That also included all your food, which was great. So finding things like that that add on all the extra costs that you think are going to be more into one big bundle is really, really helpful.
Definitely.
Other things like scuba diving, if you are interested in diving, that's a little bit more so in Semporna and Sipadan as well. I think overall the activities that you experience here are so worth it.
So worth it. And finally, always remember to travel responsibly, respect the people, respect the local cultures, especially in somewhere like Malaysia where everybody is so nice, so willing to help you, but they also have such a range of cultures here as well.
Leave places as you found them, don't litter, and just make sure you respect local cultures, and honestly you'll have just the best time.
Cannot stress how much we loved Malaysia, and we know that you're going to enjoy it too.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope you got so many tips from this video, and we hope you enjoy our itinerary too. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.